This magnificent thing is Becky, and it's earned me more than $10,000 in gold.
And there was no rest for the wicked. Becky had some work to do getting me more gold, and a couple of surprises.
Oh my god. I just Becky'd this area, threw my classifier up. What is that? No way! Now that is a find.
But our day starts a lot earlier than that, with a mistake.
Oh yeah. New wader day. My last wader's broke in half. I was so excited for that, and then I realized that they're an entire size too small. Cool. So I guess we're relegated to gumboots today, and that is going to change how I'm prospecting.
My original plan for the day was to take all of us out for ice cream and then to a bedrock trench that I know has some decent gold in it. But being relegated to gumboots means I had to drastically change those plans.
When one is relegated to gumboots, one must adapt.
Spoken like a true Chinese philosopher there, Christopher.
Bloody typical, isn't it? You go to all the effort of procuring new waders to ensure that you're going to have success today, and the last thing you do is not check if it's the right size.
I was always under the impression that there were only 3 places where size matters: burritos, parking spaces, and chocolate bars. But we're going to add waders to that list. Crunched toes just aren't fun for anyone.
But seeing as I've relegated myself to the shallow areas, I'll be curious to see what I could actually find. Welcome to Between Chris's Hairy Legs. This is reserved for only a couple of people. I'm going to be real. You're probably not one of them. Sorry, my guy. But if we can get gold in the first pan, things might look a little brighter. Oh, we got gold. I mean, it's basically nothing, but we'll get better. You watch. Seek and you shall find.
At this point in time, I felt rather put out. Being relegated to gumboots kinda sucks, especially when you've had the luxurious luxury of having waders that keep your tootsies dry and the leeches off you whilst you're in the deep stinky water. But persistence is key. My feet condoms eventually led me to some gold. You see, this bedrock area was full of trenches. Those trenches were jam-packed full of gravel, and that gravel was seemingly holding a lot of flood gold. The question as always was how much gold?
The first decent pan I got was with my Yabby pump. We might stick with that for a little bit. I filled it with water, and that trench has gravels in it. So maybe, just maybe, the hope is that this little trench has been collecting gold for us. Oh my god, it's deep. It's somewhat like ice skating around here. All the granite is super smooth. Makes me feel like a ballerina. Oh, my theory was right. We got gold and a metric ton of black sand.
What I didn't know at this point was I was about to go toe-to-toe with the world's deepest crevice.
I caught my teenager watching YouTube at 2:30 a.m. on a school night, and I don't know if I'm mad about catching them at 2:30 a.m. on a school night watching YouTube, or the fact that he wasn't watching my channel.
The next steps were all about getting access to this crevice. There's a lot of very tight packed rocks and gravel in there that were just in the way of the gold.
Turns out that goes in and under way chunkier black sand and much chunkier gold.
Australia is the second driest continent on Earth after Antarctica and your mum's sense of humour.
As Mick tells me, it's big and it's cheesy, and we like cheese around here.
And because it's so dry at the moment, we finally have access to crevices like this. With all the topsoil removed, I finally had access to the deeper rocks. So I presented my booty to Ra.
It's just going straight down. I thought this was going to be shallow, but we are up to my elbow. I don't think there's going to be a bonanza down here, but man, there might be some alright pieces.
Typically speaking, the deeper you go, the more gold you tend to get.
Well, that's really weird gravel. I haven't seen gravel like that on Reedy Creek before. It's kind of crunchy. Maybe it's old.
The gravel on Reedy Creek is typically very well worn, and that's because it was part of a glacial movement over 2.6 million years ago. Almost as old as your mum.
You see bits like this all the time, but not in this quantity in one spot.
If you fancy yourself a bit of an Esme Watson, the rocks in front of you can kind of tell you a story. Kind of. I mean, they don't really have voice boxes. Recognizing that different types of gravel hang out with different types of gold can often lead you to a better gold deposit.
The pan feels heavy, and normally when the pans feel heavy, you've got a lot more black sand and heavier mineralized rocks in there than normal, which always gets me a little bit excited, and there's a noise to it. I reckon if just by... You can tell you're an experienced prospector when you know how much gold's going to be in your pan by the sound. Check out the tin and gemstones in that. I'm going out on a limb here and I'm going to say that this hasn't been touched in a really long time. As a shotgun pellet, Gadsy will be very happy. And we really didn't get much more gold than the last pan, but still, they're good flakes. I mean, it's not powder, which would be a little bit disappointing to some of my top fans.
But it was remaining consistent and good. Crevices are some of the easiest places to check for gold, and often they'll have a decent amount of it and gemstones along with it on Reedy Creek. And pan after pan came out of this crevice almost exactly the same. Each pan I took from this crevice, especially the deeper I went, had more gemstones and a mixture of fine and flaky gold. But then it was time for some whinging.
Holy f***, you are hot, bro. Ugh. Getting too old to get down on my knees like this. It's just such a tight crevice. Alright, we're getting Becky onto it. Yo, you know there's gold in that. I don't crevice anywhere near as much as I used to, but there is something satisfying about smashing a crevice like this. It just keeps going down. Oi. I have this thing where I always think about what's the most amount of gold I'm walking over or past. Do you have that? Do you wonder if the gold thinks about you too? This is a heavy pan.
The subtle tells that you learn over the years of prospecting, like the weight of the pan, the sound the gravel makes in the pan while the dirt's moving around, and even the colour and shape of the gravels that come out when you're digging, all lend themselves to knowing whether or not you're on better gold. And if you would like to get a better start in prospecting, check out theoldbaldy.com.au. This is where we sell premium pay dirt sourced right here in the northeast of Victoria, so you can practice gold panning in the comfort of your jocks from your own couch.
You know, it's actually starting to add up in there. Thank you for your service, Becky. You've cleaned that crevice out just beautifully, and on the last pan, I even got a really nice big flake. Big flakes are beautiful. It's a good little crevice. It gave consistent gold while there was dirt still left in it. There are definitely worse crevices out there, that's for sure.
This was good, but I wasn't done yet. I had a few hours up my sleeve, so I went looking for another one. And what I found was less of a crevice and more of a bedrock bowl.
That's nice.
This bedrock bowl was also extremely deep and had a lot of grey clay in it. And the grey clay in this area usually has a little bit of gold. My first pan certainly revealed gold, but they also revealed a lot of garnets. And I mean, hey, if you want to give me gold and shiny red rocks, I'll take them. I've been at this for hours, and there is gold literally everywhere. I haven't been skunked on a single pan. But it's the same quantity of gold no matter where I check. It doesn't matter how much black sand I get the same amount of gold. And that honestly is the problem with only being able to work in high areas, because you bought the wrong size waders. Now you gotta wear your feet condoms. There is better gold out here, I have found it, but it's not up high. Amongst the gold and small gemstones, I did find a couple of unique crystals. This is a piece of smoky quartz with some tourmaline inclusions, and a very strange looking agate. And then I found the find of the day.
Oh my god. I just Beckied this area, threw my classifier up. What is that? No way! Oh my god! That is a huge piece of smoky quartz. I mean, it's smashed to shit, but it's clear as. Look, you can see my finger behind it. Ooh, it's got a phantom back in it. You can see the tip of it, the very tips. Oh, I wish this wasn't smashed. That hasn't been in the creek that long. That's barely worn down. Those edges are still really crisp. Find of the day.
I'd been out exploring for about 5 hours, and the temperature was reaching a pretty unbearable level. So I made the decision to wrap things up. We'd had a really successful day on both the gold and the crystals and gemstones.
That's actually not that bad. 4.5 hours of panning. Didn't even get my footsies wet. And you know what? I am really happy with this. I think we've got a fair amount of gold there.
Should we put it on the scales? YouTube is still unsubscribing people without your or my permissions, which is just a little bit dastardly. Check your subscription status below, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. I've got the gold all cleaned up. A massive thank you to Brett Whitehead for sending me this. It's a complete gold map of Victoria. And a massive shout out to all my patrons and channel members who have jumped on recently and have been supporting the channel for the long term. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to make as many videos as I make right now. And this is all the gold that I cleaned up. $600 of cash for scale. It's been a really slow start to this year. This is most of the gold that I've managed to recover from videos that I've published so far. There's about 10 grams in there. And so I think it goes without saying, every little piece of gold that I'm collecting at the moment is highly valued. The gold price is so high, I was hoping to get a few ounces this year using my gold pan, and this is going to help. I'm thinking maybe a little more than half a gram. Leave your guesses in the comments below. Point 1. Alright, we're on our way. Point 2. Oh, come on, half a gram, we can do it. I hope we get half. Ooh, damn, we're going to be close. I get better at this guessing thing. 0.54. That's worth about 75 Australian dollar-y dues at the time of recording, which is not a bonanza city, but it's certainly better than zero gold.